Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name's Lucy and I run Lula Rocks, which is an online store selling enamel pins and stationery and other little pieces based off of my designs and illustrations. I am here today to talk to you about an app that might help us out. If you run multiple stores like Shopify and Etsy, it can be really difficult to manage your inventory between the two platforms. So if you've already been doing this for a while, you'll know the pain, the struggle. It's a nightmare. So the way that I've been doing it up until now is if I've got like 100 pins of one design, I would put 50 on Etsy and 50 in Shopify. And then if, say, all of them sell out on Etsy and, I don't know, some of them sell out on Shopify, let's say I'm left with 40 on Shopify and none on Etsy, I would then split that 40 out and put 20 in Etsy and 20 in Shopify. It's a lot of manual work. It really is a pain in the bum. And I hate it, if I'm honest. It's admin that I just don't have the time for. And basically, sometimes your product sells out in Etsy and you don't quite catch it, and then you miss out on sales. So you're missing out on money. It's just not ideal. It's just not efficient to do it manually. So ShopUpz Inventory contacted me and asked me if I wanted to try out their app on Shopify. And I said, okay, let's give it a go. So they have gifted me a subscription so that I can test it out for you and give you an honest review. This is an honest review. I will only ever do an honest review for you because I would never want to recommend something that I wouldn't use or recommend myself, basically. I wouldn't want to recommend you something that I recommend myself. You know what I mean. So ShopUpz Inventory manages your inventory basically and helps you to kind of link Etsy and Shopify together. I mean, that's the goal, right? That is the goal. Now, it does have other functions, so I'm going to talk you through everything and let you know my honest opinion on what I've found so far. So, first things first, the inventory. When you first set this up, the one thing that I would recommend is to set up all of your SKUs and get your inventory counts correct before you start anything. So if you're not sure what a SKU is, SKU. A SKU is like an identification number for your products. So rather than having the name, like, I don't know, my Moonchild enamel pin, I will give it a SKU number. And I use kind of a series of letters and numbers so that I can identify it. And each kind of section for me means something else. So my first three letters refer to what size pin it is. So I have PN1, PN2, PN3, PN4, and so on and so forth. So that I know PN means pin, 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of tells you what size it is. Then I have 4 letters that tell you the design. So mine's moon. And then I have 01, 02, 03 if I have more than one moon pin in that size. Does that make sense? So my SKU would be something like PN2 moon 04. And that helps me identify which exact moon pin it is that I'm talking about. So you need to make sure that all of your stock, all of your products have SKUs associated with them. And they need to be in both Shopify and Etsy and match before you get started. So that's one main thing to think about. The other thing is I definitely recommend exporting your quantities and maybe doing a stock count. Basically, check how many items you've actually got and keep a record of it somewhere so that you can check, has this worked? Does this match? So that's the first big thing. Get that done. It does take a little while to set it all up, especially if you've got a lot of products. I have like over 200 products in my shop. But thankfully, I had already done all of that work a while ago. All I had to do was export my quantities out of Etsy and Shopify and then combine them so that I knew exactly how many I had. And I did a stock count very recently because I tend to do one each year. So that is the first point. So the first thing is your Etsy inventory kind of pulling it across to Shopify. You probably want to update all of your quantities in Shopify to the total amount first before you kind of sync your channels. But once you connect them, that's when the magic really happens. And I will show you. It does take a little while. I will just say it does take a little while to actually sync them, especially if you do have a lot of items in your shop. I set it up and then left it running and kind of popped downstairs for an hour, came back and it was done. So I don't know exactly how long it takes, but under an hour, maybe more than an hour, depending on probably your internet speed and how many listings you've got. As you can see from my screen, this is my items that are in inventory. So you can see my SKUs here, and you can see I've got 2 in Etsy, 2 in Shopify. I don't have 4 of this sticker sheet, I have 2. But thankfully, it is putting them across both. And what happens is if I sell one in Shopify and it goes down to 1, it will automatically update Etsy. And if I sell one in Etsy, it will automatically update Shopify. So in theory, you're never going to oversell and you're never going to sell out in one when you've still got stock, as long as they are linked properly. The only thing I will say is I did a little test. It does take a few minutes for each one to kind of feed through to the other. So I'll do it. I'll show you kind of how it works. So I would say that if you've got a popular item that sells loads and you're really low, I guess there is the potential for it to sell out because it's not updated like instantly. So if you had multiple people had something in their basket at the same time, you could potentially run into problems, but I haven't experienced that myself. I'm just guessing that could happen. And as you can see here, this top one has an error. And it's only linked to Etsy. Now, that is intentional. I don't have a SKU. I've only got one left. So it's just in Etsy. I just want to get rid of it, to be honest. It's discontinued stock. I'm not going to bother creating a SKU for it, and I'm not going to link it across the channels. So as you can see, all of these quantities match. None of them are different. And like I said, so 48 is my total amount. So let's do a little test, shall we? Right, white rainbow washi tape. I'm going to change the quantity. There we go, 26 in stock. I'm going to change that to 25. Click publish. Eventually, that is going to change to 25 and that will update to 25. So it's updated the Etsy. So in a couple of minutes time, that will be 26. 25. 25. So while we're waiting for that to update, one thing I will say, and I don't know that this is intentional or that they're aware of this, but I actually use a third marketplace, which is for wholesale orders. So I'm on Faire, and because I have Shopify, you can connect your Shopify to Faire. And I was a bit concerned that maybe this wouldn't work between 3 platforms. But let me tell you, it totally does. So if you have a Shopify, an Etsy, and a Faire, it also gets updated. Now, you don't need ShopUpz if you've just got Faire and Shopify. That won't help you. But if, say, I sell something in Etsy, it will update in Shopify, and then Shopify will update my Faire quantity as well. So that has been a little bonus, is that it still kind of works with all the integrations that I have already. So there's a little bonus tip for you. There we go. It has updated 25 and 25. So one thing that I have picked up about this page, because this is like all of my inventory, as you can see, you have to load more listings to get all of your inventory showing. And at the moment, from as far as I can tell, you can sort it by listing, but it will only sort it by listing with the ones that you have already loaded. So does that make sense? Like only the ones shown on screen are going to be sorted by listing. You can't sort by SKU. So I think some kind of advanced sorting function would be helpful. So you could sort it by, I don't know, inventory quantity. You could sort it by SKU. I think it would be handy to have a search box so that you could search for specific listings if you want to, check the inventory of something, and maybe even like a filter function. I think those things would be quite beneficial. And I think having all of your listings showing without having to click load more listings would help as well, because then you could do Control F and search for rainbow. Oh, multiple rainbows there. So I actually have a third rainbow design. I have rainbow washi tape, but it's not coming up because, sorry, I'm just whacking. it's not coming up because it's not shown in the loaded listings. That's one improvement I think that would benefit this particular part. So my thoughts on the kind of inventory function is thumbs up. I freaking love it. So I've been using this now for, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks. And oh my God, it is just so good. I haven't had to manually update anything, not anything at all. It has been so beautiful. I started my business in 2017. So I got an Etsy in 2017 and I think I got my Shopify in 2018. So we're talking like 4 years of doing it manually. It's 4 years of my life I'm never going to get back. The next thing that it does is order sync. You can basically pull orders across from Etsy into Shopify so that you can process all of your orders together, because it can be a bit of a pain in the bum. Again, everything's a pain in the bum when you run multiple shops, multiple online kind of marketplaces. Trying to process orders in Etsy, processing orders in Shopify. It's just messy. You have to have 2 different things open. You work through one lot, you work through another lot. It just kind of feels like you're doing double the work. And okay, it's not, you're not doing double the work. It just feels that way. So by being able to kind of pull all of your orders across from Etsy, you can just work through one list in Shopify. And, you know, some people might prefer the functionality of Shopify when it comes to fulfilling your orders and things like that. So what you can do is you go into advanced settings. Order sync is enabled. So you can turn it off and turn it back on whenever you want. And the great thing is that you can choose the type of kind of fulfillment that happens here. So you can have it mark the Etsy order as dispatched only if you add a tracking number into Shopify. You can do it as soon as you've marked it as fulfilled in Shopify and it would mark it as dispatched. Or you can have it so that it doesn't and you have to go into Etsy and do it manually. Now, the orders transfer over from Shopify every 20 minutes, and it does backdate your orders. So if you've already got orders in Etsy when you set this up, it should transfer those orders over. It's not just new ones that come in going forward. Now, I've already shipped everything out. I'm up to date with my Etsy orders. So these all say order already shipped and won't be synced. These ones got synced from when I did my test last week. And I will show you how they look. Obviously for customer, like data protection, I can't show you many of the details on this screen, but you can see here they automatically get given a tag that says Etsy. So you know which ones are Etsy and which ones are not. And everything pulls across. Everything. It looks just like an order that you would get in Shopify. It has all of the details in that you need. So again, for this function to be working, whereby you pull your orders across from Etsy to process them in Shopify, you do need to have your SKUs matching. So if you have SKUs that don't match, it's not going to be able to do it and you're going to get an error and the order's not going to pull across. So that's something that if you did choose to use that function, you do need to check which orders have errored, or if there are any orders that have errored, because you wouldn't want to just kind of completely leave Etsy and never look at it again, because you could have orders that then just don't ever get processed. My only kind of hesitance, I'd say, with using this is that I am currently an Etsy star seller and I've held my Etsy star seller title for a good, I think, 8 months now. And if you're not sure about what an Etsy star seller is, there are certain kind of requirements that you have to hit. And one of those is to do with tracked shipping. So basically, if you have an order that is over £10 on Etsy, in the UK, I don't know what it is for everywhere else, but in the UK, if you have an order that's over £10, you have to either pay for tracked shipping or buy your shipping label through Etsy labels rather than kind of Royal Mail click and drop or any other way, in order to keep up with star seller. So by processing it in Shopify rather than Etsy, you're not going to be able to do Etsy labels. Of course, you can do track shipping. So if you already do track shipping as standard, then it's fine. It's not an issue, but I don't, because it's freaking expensive. So unless someone pays for track shipping themselves, they don't get track shipping, which means that if I want to be a star seller, anything that's over £10, I have to purchase Etsy labels, which I hate, but I want to keep my star seller. So so I already have to do those through Etsy rather than Royal Mail click and drop. So if you wanted to keep up with star seller, then you'd probably have to, like I said, either pay for track shipping or still process some in Etsy anyway. Which is fine, because you don't have to process them in Shopify just because they fed over. You can just mark them as fulfilled and archive them in Shopify. It's not like, oh no, now I have to do it. The other thing that causes a little bit of an issue is I use Royal Mail click and drop. So both my Etsy and Shopify are integrated with Royal Mail click and drop. Now, because the orders come through on Etsy, they go into click and drop. And then when I transfer the orders over to Shopify, they go into click and drop again. So you do end up with duplicate orders in click and drop, which isn't ideal because it's messy. And again, there's an extra step. So, I mean, it might not be for you, the order transfer kind of side of it. Or you might just want to trial it and see if it is actually easier. Does it save you time, or is it just as much work? Or is it even more work? Is it even more confusing? I don't know. I think only you can tell that based on how you ship your parcels. Because if you don't use Royal Mail click and drop and you really don't care about Etsy Star Seller, or you already provide track shipping, then it's not going to be an issue. It's just something to kind of keep in mind in case you do all of those things. Okay, so the next function, which is freaking brilliant, is export listings. Honestly, this is a beauty. I'm going to show you. So basically, you can export listings that you have created from Shopify to Etsy. What? If you've been running two shops for a long time, you'll know shop updates when you've got like a whole collection of stock come in, and you need to update your website on Shopify and Etsy. The dread kicks in. Because it's such a long process. Personally, in my opinion, Shopify is a lot easier to do than Etsy. Etsy, there are so many different kind of things that you have to fill in, and I just hate it. I hate it. So this, you can create a listing in Shopify and export it to Etsy. And I'm just going to show you. It's freaking brilliant. Okay, so we are going to go to products. I'm going to be really lazy. I'm going to duplicate some products. So let's go into this one. We are going to call it ShopUpz Test 1. Take out this. Test. Oh. Whatever. Test. Let's add some images. We're going to have this one. And I'm going to change the order of my images. So I'm going to drag this one here. And the price is going to be £20. Leave it in those collections. As you know, I'm going to take it out of all the collections. Otherwise, if people go on my website when I publish this, they're going to see this random listing. So I'm going to take it out of all sections. We need to give it a SKU. This SKU is going to be TS1 for test 01. Wow, imaginative, right? Track quantity. We'll leave the weight and all of that in. Let's save it. Okay, we're going to have 10 in stock. Save that. Gonna make it active. Save it. So here it is on my website. ShopUpz Test 1. It's £20. I know I've got 10 in inventory. Test. It's got my images. Cool. Okay, that's that part done. So you've set up your listing. We're all good to go. Okay, so you want to go to export listings. You want to choose a category name. I'm going to stick with accessories. These are quite generic. So once you're in Etsy, you probably want to give it more of a specific category. It should pull through all of your shipping profiles from Etsy. So you just have to choose out the pre-selected ones that you've got. Okay, we want to do just a listing, but if you've done a collection, you can select the whole collection. So I'm going to do Shopify listings, and we called it ShopUpz Test 1. There we go. Add that. Do we want to include tags? Yes. I mean, I haven't added any tags, but if you had, I assume they would pull across to the tag section in Etsy. Okay, so I'm going to click Export Listings now. Okay, so it says, congratulations, your listing sync process has been completed. The new listings are on Etsy draft status. Now you can click view export results. So if there's any kind of errors, as you can see, I've already done some testing, but if there are any errors, it would come up here, tell you what was wrong. And then you can give it another whirl. Okay, drafts, shop up test 1. Let's click into this bad boy. It's put my images in the order that I put them in. It's pulled through all the images. So you want to change your details, based on, is it made to order? It's a finished product. I made it. Accessories. So as I said, you probably want to be a little bit more specific with your category rather than just having accessories. Fill out your color. Apparently it's clear. All the usual bits. Obviously, any description you've put in going to pull across. You need to choose your production partners if it's something that you don't make yourself. Like I said, I assume if you put tags in Shopify, it would have pulled them through here. You can add your materials. It's pulled through the price. It's pulled through the quantity. It's pulled through the SKU. And the delivery profile. There is very little work that you have to do once the listing's in Etsy, which just blows my mind. It's going to save me so much time. Now, I haven't actually done a shop update since having this app, but I will have one within the next few months. And I am so looking forward to trying this out properly and seeing how much time it really does save me, because it's stressful and daunting whenever I have a shop update, and you might feel the same. And if you don't, then kudos to you, because you have mental strength that I do not. Because I just find it really stressful. It's just a lot of work and I hate it. Quite happy to do them in Shopify, but then when it comes to Etsy, it's like, ugh. I mean, as you can see, there's so many sections. Like if you don't already have Etsy and you're thinking about it, like it is a lot to set up. So an app like this could really save you time and just make your life a lot easier. So I think I've covered everything. If I had to give this app a rating out of 10, I would give it a solid 8 or 9, I think, because of the amount of time it saves me. And like I said, this is an honest review. This is not, I've not been paid to give a false opinion. This is my honest opinion after playing around with the app for a couple of weeks and testing things out. And I love it. It's honestly saving me so much time. Now, you do get a 14-day free trial when you sign up. So you can always have a little play, get everything set up, play around with it yourself. And if you don't like it, you can cancel it within 14 days without being charged, which is always really good for an app. If you do sign up, it is $19 a month. So what's that? It's about £15.71 with the current exchange rate per month. Now, if you're only just starting out, that could be quite a lot of money to you. So you need to kind of weigh up, I guess, the pros and cons between saving time, which, time is money. So based on how many hours you spend doing all of this manual admin, and how much you normally kind of pay yourself, the hourly rate, let's say it saves you, let's say you pay yourself £10 an hour and you normally spend around 3 hours a month managing your inventory, setting up listings on Etsy and things like that. That's £30. And this is half that price. So you're actually saving money and time. Personally, would I recommend it? Yes, 100%. I am in love with it, if I'm honest. Absolutely in love with it. And, if you ever have any issues or anything with it, you can reach out to customer service. Shirley's really great. She will answer any of your questions. So yeah, that was ShopUpz Inventory. I hope that it was helpful and gave you a bit of an insight into how the app works. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I will be back soon, hopefully, for another video. I know I've been a little bit rubbish on YouTube. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you guys. Thank you so much for always supporting me. You guys are amazing. Bye for now.